All right, so let's talk about some admin backend setup stuff that has to take place early in the process here when you get onto Dot Drives. So this is pretty simple to do, but let's go through it. So go ahead and click your name in the top right and select Settings. Now we're going to get started over here in Users. You can easily access that as well over on the left hand menu. If I open this up, you can see a list of my internal users. So these are members of my team. You can easily click the Add User button, enter in the individual's email, select their role, and then send them the invite email, and they can super easily log in with their email, and they'll be added directly to your organization. So that's really easy to do. The different roles here we have are admin, director, steward, read-only, and field rep. The admin can do everything in the system. The director can do almost everything. Only thing they can't do is edit the users. The steward can create pipelines and givers, but they can't go edit other stewards. So if somebody else is stewarding something, they're not going to be able to edit that pipeline or giver or whatever else. A read-only account can see everything but can't access or edit things. And then the field rep only has access to the giver updates feature set. So that's users, really simple stuff there. Let's get into goals. And when we're talking about goals, just so we're all on the same page here, we're talking about these goals here on the dashboard. You'll see them throughout different pieces of the software as well, like pipelines. But really what we're talking about is setting this total organizational goal, which is really through Dot Drives for this fiscal year. How much money do we want to raise? That's that total org goal right there. The total pipeline goal here we're going to set as well. And then we're going to be able to set the personal pipeline goal for different individuals in the system. So we're going to go back to our settings here and select goals. You can see we break goals out into three different steps that really represents the organization, the pipeline, and then the personal widgets that you saw on the dashboard. So for this first fiscal tab here, we're really talking about two specific things. So that is your fiscal time frame. So what is your fiscal year? What do those dates look like? You can see for fiscal year 2020, it comes out of the box just on the calendar year here. But this is where you're going to be able to go in and set that dollar amount. So let's say our goal is going to be $200,000 that we want to raise through Dot Drive. So that is through all of our pipelines that we're going to be using and all of our stewards. How much do we want to raise? Our goal is going to be 200,000. You can obviously switch this date around if you use a different fiscal year, but we'll go ahead and save that. We can also create our next fiscal year. This will be important as the next year rolls around. So we'll create our 2021 fiscal year here as well to show you how to do that. So we'll title it fiscal year 2021. We'll select the start date to be January 1st, 2021. And then we'll select the end date to be the end of December here of 2021. And we'll just set that goal to $250,000 and hit save. So that's great. So now, right when our fiscal year rolls to the next year, everything will automatically be set up and updated because the system obviously knows the date and will go off of that date for the fiscal year. So that's really all that fiscal year is. Again, pretty simple. So going into pipelines, this is where you can set that the pipeline goal here. You can see that our current fiscal year goal is now represented. The pipeline section is where you're going to be able to update that pipeline goal. And the way that it works, you can create a goal for each pipeline for each fiscal year. Sounds complex. It's really, really simple. So here we can see, hey, we're looking at our major donor pipeline for fiscal year 2020. What's the goal? Keeping in mind that we had a goal of $200,000 for our total organization goal, we'll go ahead and just say, you know what, actually, we're going to just be raising all of that through our major donor pipeline. So if we hit save on this, now we have a goal set. We go back to the dashboard, we can see our total pipeline goal is now 200,000 as well. And the way that the math works on that, if I go back into my goals, and if I wanted to create a goal for my trip pipeline for the same fiscal year and then set it to $50,000 and hit save. So now for fiscal year 2020, through our trips, we want to raise 50,000. On the dashboard, it'll just add that together. So this is a summary of all of your different pipeline goals in the system, so you can understand where that number comes from. We'll go ahead and just delete this one. So now moving into stewards, we're breaking it down even further. So in fiscal year 2020, through our major donor pipeline, here's the different team members or stewards that we have. How much are each of them individually responsible for raising? So let's say myself, I am responsible for $100,000. My teammate Sal is also responsible for the other $100,000. So you go ahead and hit save on that. Now, again, when we go back to our dashboard, you'll see I'm seeing my personal amount. So, when I select that in admin settings, that will be displayed. If Sal logged in here, he would see his $100,000 on his personal. And then as you start, creating pipelines and raising funds, you'll see these numbers going up to approach that goal. So that's really the basics of the goals here. Simple stuff, easy to set up, but it's really powerful on your dashboard to be able to see those goals at different levels and see your team and yourself personally approaching those goals. All right, so that's goals. Let's move on to donation targets. So donation targets are really simple as well. This is different funds, different projects, different things that you might be raising funds for. So if you're creating a pipeline to ask a major donor for funds, what could you be asking money for? So maybe it's a capital project or a specific event. So we'll say for one of them that we want to create is event sponsorship. I don't know if I spelled that right, but you get the idea. We can create one for, and just a quick FYI, general fund will come with this standard. You can create as many of these as you like, so don't even worry about any limits there. We'll say we have a COVID relief program. We can go ahead and add that, and then we'll do one more. We'll just say guest cottage Uganda, and that's really kind of a capital project. You could enter in a multitude of different things here. It could be a specific grant or whatever you might be raising funds towards. You can create that list here really easily. Next, let's talk about tags. So tags are a really simple way to segment out your database. You can apply tags to givers, and you can apply tags to pipelines. You can then filter down to those tags to find lists of people really, really easily. So we'll add a tag. A classic example would be a major donor. So we can go ahead and create that tag. So then we can tag givers and pipelines with that. We could say, hey, this one is actually a prospect. We can tag individuals with board member. Again, you can create as many of these as you would like. And then really quickly, I'll show you go into your givers. And now if I wanted to edit and apply a tag, I could just go up here and see that list. We'll get into the details there in a little bit, but that's kind of how tags work. And then from there, we can filter down onto those tags to see specific lists of people. All right, so we've covered most of the things here. Last thing is QuickBooks. So to connect QuickBooks, really simple. Hit that QuickBooks button. Hit this connect button. This will pull you into a QuickBooks login page where you're going to have to log into your QuickBooks account. Just go ahead and sign in. At that point, you'll have to authorize QuickBooks to push your information over. So go ahead and click connect. So right now it's syncing over your QuickBooks customers and products and classes if you have that set up. You can see we are now connected. And that will do two things for you. It will show you some important data on your dashboard that's being pulled right from QuickBooks. And this is really important because, as an executive director or other leadership role, a lot of these financial numbers are super important, but not very often will those individuals have time to go into QuickBooks and look at them. So we have your net income and total bank accounts being pulled right from QuickBooks, put onto your dashboard. A key thing to keep in mind there is only the admin and director role will have access to this information. Stewards and below will not see that on the dashboard, so you don't have to worry about that. And then the other functionality over in donations, we have a QuickBooks tab here. And we'll get into the details of this, obviously, in the donations related video. But what this will let you do is take your donation information and push it into QuickBooks, sync it to your QuickBooks immediately so you don't have to enter that information in twice. So in terms of admin setup, you're done at this point. That's everything locked and loaded, and you're ready to go.